So right now it's dark. I'm alone in a garage at 2 a.m. on a Saturday. The street outside is silent and the houses are dim. And the only sound is the occasional airplane overhead heading off to places that I'll never know. And in here, there's just a desk lamp glowing above a pile of half-charged batteries. Red indicator lights blinking like tiny little distress signals. The garage smells like a combination of laundry detergent and old garage wood. Mildewed 2x4s soaked in decades of San Diego salt air. And somewhere under all of that, there's a scent of pinyon incense. The one that I like to burn to help me focus and relax. Though lately, I'm not sure what I'm even trying to focus on. There's a whiteboard that's screwed to the wall with a to-do list from 9 months ago. And a coffee mug with fossilized coffee welded to the bottom. There's a stack of empty Diet Coke cans and a busted pieces of laptop stand that I shattered last week during one of those moments that you don't really post about or tell people about. One of those moments you're a little too proud to call rage and a little bit too ashamed to call anything else. And I'm sitting in this old brown leather chair that I originally bought as a set piece for a portrait shoot. Something to fill a frame. Now it's just simply my desk chair. It's kind of cracked, a little worn, scratched, still here, like me. And a day after I recorded the last episode, I told myself that I was going to get to work, shoot some spec, build some momentum. So I cleaned my garage, I sorted the gear, I charged everything that I could charge. A ritual of readiness. But wanting to work and actually working, those are two different countries. And most days, I can't find my passport. There's this feeling that I can't shake lately. Like I'm taking up space that I don't deserve. Like I walk into a room and nothing happens. Nothing changes. Not in the light. Not in the air. Not in anyone's mood. Not even my own. And there's something about being awake in your workspace at 2:14 a.m. that strips everything down to bare wires. There's no emails. There's no client demands. No algorithm whispering into your ear. Just your tools and the question, now what? And people love talking about these breaking points, the clean cinematic moment when you fall apart or rise again. But nobody really tells you about this middle part, the ghost zone, when you're not really broken, but not really healed either. Just quietly recognizing your own shit in the dark, trying to remember what any of it was for. My name is Patrick, and this is a Terrible Photographer podcast. You're listening to episode 16, titled Angry.
Can I stay here? I can sleep on the floor. Paint the blood and hang the palms on the door. Do not think I'm going places anymore. Wanna see the sun come up above New York. Oh, every day starts so great and then the sunlight dims. Less I look, the more I see the pythons and the limbs. Do not know what's wrong with me, the sours in the cup. But when I walk into a room, I do not light it up. Fuck, so I stay down with my demons. I stay down with my demons. I stay down with my demons. I stay down with my demons.
Some people messaged me after last week's episode. Patrick, that was really dark. Or that was depressing. And yeah, maybe it was. Also, maybe it wasn't. Because at the core of Terrible Photographer, I never really wanted this to feel like pop music, you know? I wanted it to be more singer-songwriter, something with scars, something with weight. But other times, it's as fun as hell. Times when the money's good, the mountaintops, when things are going right, and when people give you standing ovations. And I think great art is about both the brutal honesty and the beauty, truth and beauty, beauty and truth. Because really all this is kind of ridiculous and hard and weird and crazy and fun and terrible all at the same time. The truth is, I'm kind of fucking angry. I'm actually really angry. And the frustrating thing is, I don't know who or what to be angry with. All I know is that this energy is there. I know this because that metal laptop stand that I smashed is still in pieces on the ground. I'm staring at it right now. And sometimes I actually think I'm angry at the industry, the way that it chews people up, the way that it rewards mediocrity if it's packaged right, the way that it makes you feel like you're never enough unless you're constantly performing your own success on social media. And sometimes I think I'm angry at clients who ghost you after you deliver work or ask you for just one more revision that turns into 17, or sometimes that are so adamant about you hitting their deadline but don't really give a shit about paying you on time. And sometimes it's neither of those things. Sometimes I think I'm angry at myself for the opportunities that I didn't take, for the work that I didn't push hard enough on, for the times that I said yes when I should have said no, for the times that I played it safe when I should have been braver, for still being here in the garage, wondering if I'm good enough. But mostly, I'm just angry at the gap, the space between what I know I'm capable of and where I actually am, between the work that I want to make and the work that pays the bills, between the photographer I am in my head and the one that shows up when the pressure is on. I keep hearing about healing your creative wounds and finding your joy again. And I've always found statements like that confusing at best and bullshit at worst. To me, you can't heal wounds. You can only learn to live with them. You have to embrace them as part of who you are. And you can't really find joy. And you can only be in a place where joy can come and find you. Like a butterfly that randomly lands on your shoulder. You can't seek out the butterfly. You can only be in a space where the butterfly finds you. But anger? Anger you can use. Anger has weight. Anger has some momentum. Anger doesn't just wait for permission or the right mood or the perfect conditions. Anger just is. And anger demands action. For me, how I work is that I need to get to work. I know this anger, this energy is there. It's inside of me. So I need to do something with it, or else it's going to eat me fucking alive. And this anger doesn't want to be processed or understood or healed. It just wants to be channeled. It wants to make something, even if it's something ugly or imperfect or unremarkable, maybe especially then. Or else it'll wind up smashing gear on my concrete floor at 2 a.m. I also have to choose not to indulge myself in chasing these these mental rabbits down these holes of self-despair. Sometimes I actually think that I have this lust for thinking about the various injustices that I've experienced in my life, that some sick, dark part of myself feels good thinking about and getting angry about the bad shit. Not just about my own failures, but about the failures of others. Times when I was mistreated or taken advantage of. But intellectually, I know that's a trap. It's not productive. It's just indulging in the most painful parts of my past. Like picking at a canker sore or ripping off a scab. Things that are equal parts painful and satisfying. I need to shift this dark energy into productive energy. That's the only way that I can transition through this. And I'm not even sure what this looks like. I don't have a plan, but I think the first step is understanding what's going on and naming it, and then deciding that it won't help, that you need to find an alternative path forward. So last week I talked about flow. It's that state where everything sort of clicks, where the work feels effortless, where hours pass like minutes. But I didn't talk much about what it takes to get there, about what you're fighting against to find it. Because people talk about resistance like it's just a creative block or a fear of the blank page. For me, resistance is bigger than that. It's resistance to commodification, to the algorithm, to the status quo. But it's also a resistance to the internal and external pressure to give up, to conform, to play it safe. It's having the audacity and the stubborn courage to follow that internal pull that draws you into spaces where you feel a little unsafe, spaces that are uncharted and unclear, to ignore seemingly practical advice, to pursue something greater, something bigger. Resistance to that corporate dark force that woos us with a schedule and a regular paycheck and safety. Making stupid and reckless choices to pursue something you know you have to pursue, even though parts of yourself doubt, even though you don't know how you'll make it through those dark forests. I think there's a trusting of yourself and also your talent, knowing that you have the ability to carry on and that your job is to keep calm, put your head down, put one foot in front of the other, and keep going. The flow, for me, is that space that I have a choice to enter or not to enter. A space where my soul and my hands and my head are all aligned. The choice that I've always had, laziness and complacency, or just do the fucking work. For me, it often just takes one step into the room. Taking the camera out of the case, putting a battery in it, putting it on a tripod, or turning on the computer and typing a word, and then another word, and then another. And before I know it, I've written pages and pages. And the flow is powerful. I will talk about this a lot. It's mysterious. It isn't bullshit. If I've gotten anywhere in my career, it's because of my ability to work longer and harder than others. And I often tell people, honestly, I am the laziest, hardworking person that I know. I can work 24 hours straight on a project, doing something that would take others days or weeks. Or I can be the laziest piece of shit scrolling Instagram for hours, watching dumb dog videos and rage bait political content. And to me, it's always been a choice. Everything is about a choice. Do I resist or do I cower? Do I create or do I scroll? Do I indulge in the darkest places of my soul, or do I choose to think about something else? And at some point, we all have to decide to move forward or shrink back. So I know people in life who are stuck. I know these people have been stuck for years, most of their life, because the choice, it feels impossible. The magnetic pull towards despair and the darkness is too strong. And I just want to say right now, I am not talking about depression. As someone who struggles with anxiety and depression, I know that's different. For me, that hum of depression is always there. Like the sound of an old window air conditioner always in the background. It's there. Sometimes it gets louder. Sometimes you can almost forget it, but it never really goes away. It colors everything and makes simple choices feel weighted with lead. Makes everything like getting out of bed or brushing your teeth an act of defiance. And the only way for me not to hear that hum and rattle is to drown it out with work, with activity, with fresh air, with the sound of my daughter laughing, with great art from movies or music, with that mechanical act of putting a battery in a camera, adjusting the light and framing a shot. And I will say it doesn't always work, but sometimes it does. Sometimes it's enough for me to keep going. So when I talk about choice, resistance, or cower, create, or scroll, I'm not pretending that it's simple. I'm not saying depression is a choice or that you can just think your way out of mental illness. That is bullshit. That's the kind of toxic positivity that makes people feel worse about feeling shitty. But here's the other thing. This learned helplessness, this comfort and familiar pain of being stuck, the seductive whisper that says, why bother trying when you'll probably fail anyway? And that is a choice, even when it doesn't feel like one. The depression makes everything harder, makes the resistance feel heavier, and makes the flow harder to find. But it doesn't eliminate choice entirely. It just makes the choices smaller and more incremental. And maybe today, the choice isn't between creating a masterpiece or scrolling Instagram. Maybe today, the choice is getting dressed or staying in your pajamas, between opening the laptop or leaving it closed, between one small step or no step at all. And that's okay. That's still movement. That's still resistance. You know, I've always been stubborn in that I just can't fucking give up. Even though I've had this really dark, hidden desire to give up. And I don't know if it's a curse or a blessing, but I've always felt like I was too smart to understand the implications of giving up, because there's a cost to give up. And it's really fucking expensive. It's cheaper and it's easier to keep going, to keep moving forward, even when everything in you just wants to sit in a corner and hide. I think I knew I just had to power through, that I had a choice. I could use the time and the space and the gear and the experience and the creativity that I have, or I can be a coward and not do it. I can sit on my hands and cower in fear and in self-loathing, or I can just fucking get to work. And to me, I did the work. Even though I didn't want to, even though it's probably shitty, even though it won't pay for the groceries. And here's what I discovered. The work doesn't have to be meaningful. It doesn't have to solve everything to be worth doing. Sometimes the act of making something, anything, is the victory. Sometimes just showing up. Sometimes the choice to create instead of consume, to build instead of tear down, to move instead of stay stuck. Sometimes that choice is everything. You just got to do it. And when you do, something shifts. The energy shifts. Not everything, but something. So here I am, back in the garage with broken laptop stand pieces on the concrete floor and a 9-month-old to-do list screwed to the wall. And this anger is still there. The depression hum is still humming. And the gear is still mostly untouched, but I am here. And I am making something. Something angry, something honest, something that gives the middle finger to despair. And you know what? The garage feels a little different now. Not because anything major has changed. Not because I have more money in the bank account. But because I changed something small. I chose to be here. I chose to make something. I chose to trust the work matters, even when I can't see why. This is not a comeback episode. Far from it. This is more like a campfire moment. The one where we sit in the dark, but a little less alone, and quietly start warming our hands again. There's no big speeches, just a reminder that you're not broken. You're rebuilding. And sometimes the rebuild happens one small choice at a time. In a garage that smells like incense and laundry detergent, surrounded by the tools that are waiting for you to remember how to use them. And the butterfly might not land on your shoulder today, but you can still be in the space where it might find you tomorrow. And maybe, just maybe, that's enough to keep going. Maybe that's everything. So, this week's Light Leak. Sometimes the bravest thing that you can do is stay in the room. Not to fix it, not to solve it, just stay. Stay with the anger. Stay with the quiet. Stay with the version of you that doesn't have all the answers yet. Because showing up angry still counts as showing up. And rebuilding does not start with blueprints. It starts with a cracked chair, an old to-do list, and a choice to try again anyway. Let the world chase clarity. You can sit in the garage and make something honest. That's the work. That's the Light Leak. Hey, before I forget, I actually created something for you that I'm pretty excited about. If you've been listening and thinking, damn, this creative thing, this photography thing is harder than anyone wants to admit, I don't think you're alone. So I put together this free download, this free PDF called The Dark Room. It's short, it's honest, and honestly, it's what I wish someone handed me the last time that I wanted to throw in the towel. You'll get some encouragement, you'll get some tough love, and you'll get a few small steps that might help you find your way out of this creative fog. And when you sign up for Field Notes, which is my email newsletter, just head over to terriblephotographer.com, go to resources and then the dark room, and it's yours. Also, the link is in the show notes. So that's it for this week. I think I've given you enough to chew on. We will see you next Tuesday. And until then, stay curious, stay courageous, and yeah, stay terrible.